Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to get Android apps running on Windows 11, and that's running natively as any other app would on Windows, rather than running inside a virtual machine or something like BlueStacks. If anyone's seen BlueStacks, it pretty much just creates you a virtual Android device within Windows that you can install apps to, etc. Whereas this is slightly different. You can actually install an app and run it as if it was installed into Windows. So this is a relatively new feature. It's been out for a little while. Initially, it was just available in the US and Japan, I believe, but recently it's now been released to lots of other regions, including Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and the UK, which is where I am. So I did run this in the past by not fudging it, but just changing the region from my machine to US, and signing up for the insider preview versions of Windows. So yeah, and it runs pretty well, but they've made various updates since then, and obviously released it to these new regions, and they claim that the Android apps now run 2 to 3 times faster in the graphics department, so that should be quite interesting. So basically what I'm going to do, very simple steps: make sure your PC is enabled or ready to install the feature, then install the feature, and then install an app. And then after that, I'm going to install a gaming app, a retro gaming app, which should be quite fun, just because I want to see how it performs. It's a front end / emulation app that I use all the time on Android, on my phone, tablet, and TV box. But I thought it'd be quite cool to try and run it in Windows, so I'll do that towards the end. But the first things first, you need to make sure that your machine's set up and able to run it. So obviously, the most obvious thing, make sure it's on Windows 11, make sure it's up to date, make sure you've been into Windows Update, and make sure you've got, there's no outstanding updates, and then you should be good to go. The other thing is to make sure that your machine has virtualization turned on in the BIOS, and you can check that from Windows quickly. If you right click on Start, go to Task Manager, come over here to Performance, and with the CPU highlighted, you'll see down here you've got virtualization enabled. So obviously that's disabled. You need to restart the machine, go into your BIOS. Obviously it's different for each type of machine, and whether you've got Intel CPU or AMD CPU. But basically you do a reboot, and then look in the BIOS for, depending on what manufacturer it was, it'll be called something like virtualization or virtualization support. Make sure that's turned on, or and other features similar. Basically anything that says virtualization, turn it on. Things like you might find virtualization for direct I/O or VTD. I'm going to put all this in the description anyway, so you can check that. Yeah, and some other systems, depending on sort of the age of the system as well, it may be called something like Intel VTX or Intel VTD. Certainly for Intel-based systems, for systems with an AMD processor, potentially something like AMD-SEM or AMD IO-MMU. Loads of acronyms, loads of things don't make sense there, but I'll put it all in the description. So that's only really is if this is disabled. Hopefully, in most cases this should be enabled already. So because basically the way this works is in the background it spins up a virtual machine that runs a form of Android, which is basically where the apps are installed to and run from. So that's why I need this enabled. So that's the first step, make sure that's enabled. And then if you're good to go, you just need to enable a feature. So you click on Start, start typing Windows features, and then you should get the option here in Control Panel to turn features on or off. So I'm going to click on this. Just want to make sure, come down to the bottom, under so virtual machine platform. Make sure that's got a tick in the box. It may or may not, depends whether you've used it before. But basically, put a tick in that box there, hit OK, and then it'll install some files and potentially ask you to reboot as well. So just make sure this is turned on, and then you're good to go. And then the actual step to install. There's a few ways of doing it, but the recommended way is to go to the Microsoft Store. And the way they actually do this is Microsoft have partnered with Amazon, and the way they want you to do it is go to the App Store here and install the Amazon App Store. So then you can then browse the Amazon App Store, install any apps you want from there. But obviously the Amazon App Store isn't doesn't have as much content as something like the Google Play Store. Now there are other guides I've seen online on how to install the Google Play services and the Play Store. I'm not going to do that bit. I'm going to basically get it up and running, and then some sideload maps. So basically, go to a website and download a couple of APK files. APK is the Android package file, how apps are installed. You may have seen those before. So quite often a good place to go is apkpure.com. That holds a whole bunch of, I think pretty much the same as what's on the Google Play Store, but you can just download the APK manually. So I'll show that in a bit, and also put the links in. And then for the actual Android, the retro gaming app, you can get the APK directly from their website. So I'll do that as well. So anyway, enough rambling. Let's get on with it. So basically, come to the search bar. Oh, I've already got there. See, Amazon App Store. Do a search for Amazon App Store. And with any luck, it'll pop up. In a second, this should turn to install. So we'll go install. So what this will actually do, it'll as I say, it will know that you haven't got the what they call the Windows Subsystem for Android. That's the feature that actually enables you to do this. So you basically say, right, you need that first before you install this Play Store. So this is going to now download it. I mean, I've had it on here previously, but I did remove it all prior to making the video. So what I'll probably do here is just quickly pause the video. It's going to take a little while to download, and then I'll resume once this is downloaded. There we go, as if by magic. Download is nearly done. Okay. Just following any prompts that just install you to prompt you to install. Sorry, that's it done. That's the sort of back end virtualization piece done. That's all kind of behind the scenes. You don't really need to worry about that. That's all taken care of behind the scenes, like I say. So now we can click open the App Store, and this is the kind of screen you'll see the first time you run up an Android app. If you've already run one up, this will be running in the background, and this won't happen. But the first time you run an Android app, it has to start up that virtual machine in the background. Because, like I say, that's the actual thing that runs and hosts the Android environment and the apps, etc. So, give it a second. Obviously, the first time it runs, it will be a little bit slower. I mean, there are some prereqs doing this, certain type of RAM, the kind of the normal stuff. But to be honest, yeah. So the minimum minimum RAM is 8 gig. They recommend 16 gig. They recommend having a solid state SSD drive in your machine, and an Intel Core i3 8th gen minimum or above. And an AMD Ryzen 3000 or above, or a Qualcomm even a Snapdragon 8C. To be honest, mine's an older 4th gen Intel. It runs fine. I mean, I have got 16 gig of RAM, and it is running off a solid state drive. But yeah, mine's a 4th gen CPU, and it runs fine. So right, so here's a store. I mean, you'd go ahead and create an account or sign in, then you'd see all the apps. This obviously hasn't quite rendered properly. Maybe because I'm remoting into this machine. It's a separate machine than my physical machine, so maybe why that's happening. So ignore that. But that's basically it done and installed. And you can, if you want to, you can, if you've got an account or create an account, go in here and basically browse the store and install apps, and you can be done at that point. But what I'm going to show you next is how to, like I say, install some apps manually. So what we can do is we can just close this and close this down. Now to do the install, you do have to go to command prompt and type some commands in, but like I say, they're very simple. So just beforehand, these are the two applications I mentioned before. Explore is a basic file manager. Quite a simple, straightforward app to install just for this demo, but will be useful actually, to copy files in and out of your Android environment. And RetroX is the retro gaming front-end / emulation app that I mentioned. I've got some other videos of it on my channel if you want to have a look. But yeah, I mean, it's what I use on Android. It's really good. So I want to try it on Windows 11 and basically see how well it runs. So without further ado, to actually sideload these apps, we need to run a command prompt. But what I'll do, so basically like a old school command prompt, and then we need to run as admin. So, and all we need to do in here is run a couple of commands. So there's a folder that has basically some tooling, some development tools that get installed as part of the install. So change this directory. Also, I'll put these directories in the description so you can copy and paste them in. But you change here, and there's a tool called ADB, which is I believe don't quote me with this Android debugging tool. So basically, all we need to do is it basically gives like a command line interface into your Android device. I mean, people use this on physical Android devices as well, so we're going to use it here. So what I need to do is just copy this command over to my other screen. If it's going to work, but it's going to paste it. If not, I'll just run it manually. Oh well, it's not a long command. So ADB, and then connect, and we want to. For those who don't know, this is basically the local address of the machine. The loopback address is called. So if you refer to this IP address, that's the local machine you're on. So it's going to connect to itself. Export. Okay, we'll just check that because that may be that it's changed. So you'll find in your start menu, you know got this Windows subsystem for Android. If you go in here, this is where you can change, check from the settings like this port. So I come into here. This is the thing. When I first launched the app, you saw it starting up the Android environment. With this, you can say continue, so it basically spins up in the background as soon as you launch. Windows. So, like it says, so apps start quicker, or you spin it up as needed. I've left it as needed. So what we'll do in here, I just need to find. Oh, there we go. So you have to go into developer and turn on developer mode. Like I say, this ADB is a development tool. So now we can connect to, I'm pretty sure that's the same port as I mentioned. So yeah, sorry, missed a step there. You have to turn developer mode on in there, and then now we should be able to connect. And then a little prompt here saying this computer wants to say, yeah, always allow. There you go. Should be connected. Already connected. There we go. So that's done now. We won't need that print again. So actually now we're connected to the Android subsystem using the debug tool. And then the next thing is to just go ahead and install the app. So to do this, we use ADB again. And we're just going to go to this folder here where I've got everything. So install it from c/demo and explore.apk. That is what I call a streamed install, and it's done. And it's as easy as that. Now you click on start, that's the app. So that's an Android app sitting on the Windows 11 start menu, and you literally click it and it'll spin up in the window. So yeah, that's what it runs. This is exactly the same as it would run on a physical Android device that will ask for access to your local storage, which is obviously quite important for a file manager. And there we go, that's it, running, done. You can see the internal storage here on our virtual Android environment. Again, this screen, this purple stuff you can see here, I think it's because I'm going into a virtual machine. It doesn't happen on my physical machine, so ignore that. But yeah, that's the app up and running. As you can see, I can click through here, browse the menus and that kind of stuff. It's all good. And then so we can close that now. And then I want to do the retrospect one as well. So do exactly the same thing. All the APK. Done. And that's it. We don't need this anymore. Developer mode you can leave on. You can turn it off if if you're you're paranoid about security. But to be honest, you know, if anything does try to connect, you should get that prompt saying that, you know, device X is trying to connect, and you'll obviously allow it or deny it. So we can get rid of that now. Minimize it out of the way, and this, and now we've now got Retrex installed as well. And playing a bit of music. Okay, so this is a standard setup within Retrex. So that's it installed. So what I'll do, I'll go through this initial setup on here. I won't do it in part of the guide, but I'll set it up and I'll come back in a second, start Retrex, and see if we can play some games and see how well it performs. So yeah, back in 2 seconds. Okay, Retrex is now set up, some games installed, etc. And yeah, as you can see, it looks pretty cool. Fully themable. So well, let's have a little flick through. I mean, to be honest, the performance looks pretty good to me. Pretty responsive. Explain the video there, pretty good to me. So yeah. I've already added a handful of systems to this. It does support, I think, something like 35 different systems. So let's have a little go Mega Drive. Let's find a good game. Maybe let's find one everyone knows. Good old Sonic the Hedgehog. Right, okay. Let's see how well this plays. Actually, what I do want to do is just change the borders there. Levels. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Got it back again. Okay, right. Sonic the Hedgehog. Here we go. See what his performance is like. Right, I did turn the volume down a bit, didn't I? So let's have a bit of volume on this. Sorry, give me a second. Oh, there we go. Try not to make it deafening. Right. Let's hit the start button. Yeah, I'm just playing this on, like I said, Windows 11 PC. I've got a Bluetooth Xbox One controller for the controls. So right, let's give this a try. So I did have Sonic on the old Master System version. But yeah, it seems to be playing pretty well to me. There we go. Yes, that works surprisingly well. I mean, yeah, I'm very happy with that. So what I might just do quickly is put a bit of advances on maybe PlayStation or PSP, something like that. So I'll again just pause the video, stick some extra games on, and we'll have a look. Well, I've been through. I've added a PlayStation game and a PSP game. Unfortunately, I think at this stage it's not quite ready because they didn't load properly. I kind of got a very small screen for PSP that kept jumping about. You couldn't really see it. PSP and PlayStation, sorry, didn't start at all. Just kind of got a black screen. So I think at the moment, until the Android subsystem kind of develops a bit, you're good for the older games. They're kind of up to sort of Mega Drive, maybe N64, that kind of era. Maybe for the newer systems, we have to hold on a little bit longer until they've made some updates and some improvements and compatibility problems have been resolved. So, but yeah, no. Apart from that, yeah, looking really good. Like I say, playing the older games is perfect. But yeah, putting that to one side. Obviously, that's how you install your apps onto Windows 11, run them natively. As you can see, it's fairly straightforward. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm going to put all the details in the description, so you can get the various links and details there. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please like the video, please subscribe, and there'll be plenty more coming. So on various topics, retro gaming, general tech type stuff. So yeah, please subscribe, please help support me, and I'll see you all soon.